I'm Elias, 29 years old, and last Saturday, I tied the knot in what was meant to be the pinnacle of joy in my life. A day to cherish when I'm old and frail, a whirlwind of love, laughter, and loved ones. For the most part, it was, except for the glaring void left by empty chairs reserved for those closest to my heart. Each glance at those seats sent a pang through my chest. Here's the gut-wrenching truth. Not one person from my family showed up. Not my mom, not my dad, not my sister, nor even Matt, my best friend who's been like family since childhood. Instead, they all chose to attend my sister Alina's engagement party. Yes, you heard that right. Alina, fully aware of my wedding date for 8 months, planned her engagement bash on the same day, and my family picked her event over mine. It wasn't subtle. Her invites, sent out 2 months before my wedding, were lavish, gold-embossed, elegant calligraphy with glossy photos of her and her fiancé embracing against a sunset skyline. My invitations, on the other hand, were met with curt, uneasy replies. My mom texted, "We'll try to make it work, honey." My dad, a thumbs-up emoji 3 days later. I tried to convince myself I was reading too much into it. Alina's always been a golden child, the one who got the bigger room growing up, the car at 16, and my parents' undivided devotion. I was accustomed to being overshadowed, but I foolishly thought my wedding would be an exception. 2 weeks before the big day, I called my mom to check on their travel plans. After a long pause, she said, "Eli, your sister's engagement party is the same day. It's tough for us to do both." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. It wasn't. "So you're not coming?" I asked, my voice breaking in a way that embarrassed me. "Her fiancé's family is flying in from Europe. It's a rare chance to have everyone together," she replied, as if that excuse skipping my wedding entirely. "Mom, this is my wedding. My only wedding." She sighed, like I was being difficult. "You'll get it when you have your own kids. We can't split ourselves in two." I ended the call abruptly, my hands trembling so much I nearly dropped my phone. I didn't tell my fiancée, Leah, right away. I didn't want to dampen her excitement. But the days that followed were filled with stilted conversations with family, each one politely explaining they couldn't attend. Matt, my best man, called the night before the wedding and said, "I'm so sorry, man, but Alina's party is a big deal. I can't skip it." On the day, I walked down the aisle with a forced smile, the kind you wear to mask a breaking heart. Leah was radiant, like a vision from a dream. Our friends filled the venue with joy and warmth, and I tried to focus on them. But every glance at those empty chairs tightened my chest. The ceremony was flawless, and for a fleeting moment, I forgot the pain. Then, during the reception as we sliced the cake, reality hit hard. My phone, resting on the table, lit up with a text from my mom. "We need to talk now." Before I could process it, notifications flooded in. 52 missed calls in under an hour. My hand froze on the cake knife, the laughter around me fading into a dull buzz. Leah noticed my expression and whispered, "What's wrong?" I didn't answer immediately, staring at my phone, heart racing, wondering why my mother, who couldn't be bothered to attend my wedding, was suddenly so desperate to reach me. Then another message came, this one from my cousin Amelia, the only family member who occasionally shared unfiltered truths. It read, "You won't believe what's going on here. Call me when you can, but don't tell anyone I texted." That single line sent my pulse racing. I didn't respond right away, knowing she might get caught in whatever drama was unfolding. But my gut told me it was tied to Alina's party. I tucked my phone away, trying not to let it ruin the moment, but my mind kept spinning. I barely registered the DJ announcing our first dance. Holding Leah close, swaying to music, all I could see was my family, my parents, sister, and so-called best friend, clinking glasses in some grand venue, posing for photos, while I celebrated one of life's biggest moments without them. After the dance, I stepped outside for a moment, claiming I needed a quick break. The cool night air hit me as the reception's music faded behind me. I called Amelia. She answered instantly, her voice hushed like she was hiding. "Elias, they're talking about you," she said. They're saying you deliberately picked your wedding date to clash with Alina's big moment. Your mom's telling everyone you did it to steal her spotlight. I froze. That's ridiculous. I set my date months before she was even engaged. I know, Amelia said quickly, but they're framing it like you're the bad guy. And your dad's telling her fiancé's family you're distant from us. So it's no surprise we didn't show up. My throat went dry. They were rewriting the narrative in real time. That's not all, she went on. Matt's here. Say he couldn't be your best man because you were difficult about the guest list, like you didn't even want him there. I couldn't speak. Matt, my lifelong friend, was at my sister's party, bad-mouthing me to strangers. Amelia hesitated, then added, Your mom's been calling because, well, I don't know everything, but she needs you to fix something for Alina tonight. That's why she's blowing up your phone. The sheer audacity hit me like a punch. They ditched my wedding for Alina's party, and now, in the middle of my reception, they expected me to solve her problems. I wanted to hang up and pretend I hadn't heard any of it, but anger burned in my throat. This was the pattern my whole life. They'd hurt me, paint me as the villain, then turn to me when they needed something. And I'd always cave because they were family. But that night, standing in the dark with the faint clink of glasses from two celebrations miles apart, something in me shifted. I didn't tell Leia yet. I didn't want to spoil her night with their drama, but the weight of it pressed on me. Back inside, the room buzzed with music and dancing friends, and I managed to smile. Yet my phone kept vibrating. My mom's name flashing like a reminder that the people who should have been there chose someone else and still expected me to jump when they called. By the end of the night, I had 68 missed calls, and the final voicemail made my fists clench. Exhausted, Leia and I collapsed in our hotel suite, the kind of tire that comes from smiling through heartbreak. I was about to toss my phone aside when a new text from Amelia arrived. Just a photo. I opened it and my stomach churned. There was Alina at her engagement party, wearing my late grandmother's wedding necklace. It wasn't just any jewelry. It was the heirloom promised to me as a teenager. My grandmother, before she passed, had said, Eli, this is for your bride to wear on your wedding day. She'd even written it in her will. The necklace had been locked in my mom's safe for years. When I asked about it months ago, she said, It's too worn to use. Yet there it was, sparkling on Alina's neck, complimenting her designer gown. Worse, in the background, I saw Matt, grinning with a champagne flute in hand. I stared, my pulse pounding. Leia noticed my face. What's wrong? She asked softly. I hesitated. We'd promised to keep the day about us, not my family's mess. But when I showed her the photo, her jaw clenched. That's the necklace your grandmother left you? I nodded, my voice tight. Mom said it was damaged. She lied. She gave it to Alina. Leia sat on the bed, hands tightening in her lap. Eli, that's not just wrong. It's theft. As if on cue, my phone buzzed again, another call from my mom. I let it go to voicemail, but couldn't resist listening. On speaker, her voice was bright, then sharp. Elias, I don't know why you're ignoring me. Alina's having an issue tonight. The caterer messed up, and we need you to pull some strings with that restaurant you know. Oh, and I let Alina wear Grandma's necklace for something special tonight. Don't make a fuss. It's just jewelry. Call me back. Now. That was the moment something broke inside me. It wasn't just their absence, the gossip, or the lies. It was that my mom could take something so personal, tied to my grandmother's memory, and give it to Alina like it meant nothing. The betrayal sank in, cold and heavy. All those years of brushing off their slights, making excuses, believing they didn't mean to hurt me. It hit me that they never valued me, not even on my wedding day. I sat in silence, phone in hand, before setting it down. My mind moved past shock and hurt to something colder, clearer. This time, I wouldn't let it slide. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the hotel curtains, but it felt dim, like the world had lost its shine. Leia slept beside me, her hand loosely in mine, but my thoughts were elsewhere. I checked my phone. 93 missed calls, 22 voicemails, countless texts from my parents, and even distant relatives I hadn't heard from in years. All demanding the same thing, Call your sister. No congratulations, no apologies, just commands and guilt trips that twisted my gut. I played another voicemail, this one from my dad, his tone sharp and irritated. Elias, I don't know what's wrong with you, but ignoring us on a night like this is immature. We expected better from you now that you're married. Call your mom and do what's right. Do what's right, as if they'd done right by me. That day should have been filled with joy, brunches, and reliving the wedding's best moments. Instead, I carried an ache and a mental fog. At a quiet cafe breakfast by the water, Leah tried to keep things light, but her eyes betrayed her worry. Back at the hotel, I sat on the bed, staring at the empty velvet box meant for my grandmother's necklace. I brought it, hoping to surprise Leah, but when my mom claimed it was damaged, I'd stashed it away. Now, it was a stark reminder of my family's disregard. I didn't cry, though I thought I might. Instead, a hollow space grew inside me, and in it, quiet plans began to form. I didn't tell Leah yet, but I started saving evidence. Screenshots of my parents' texts, Amelia's photos from the party, every manipulative voicemail. I stored them in a laptop folder labeled for later. While Leah napped, I sat in the hotel lobby, pretending to browse honeymoon spots. Really, I was digging up my grandmother's will, which I'd scanned years ago when helping her with paperwork. There was clear as day, I leave my wedding necklace to my grandson, Elias Harper, for his bride on their wedding day. It dawned on me that my mom's actions weren't just wrong. They were legally dubious. But I didn't react impulsively. I knew if I confronted them now, they'd twist it. Elias is dramatic, ungrateful, causing trouble. So I smiled at the hotel staff's congratulations and posted a single wedding photo online, ignoring the flood of texts from relatives demanding I address the situation. I stayed composed, my face a mask of calm, but inside, a fierce, icy resolve was forming, unlike anything I'd ever known. They believed they'd escaped accountability. I was determined to ensure they'd never anticipate what was coming. A week after Leah and I returned from our brief honeymoon, my priorities shifted. Instead of being consumed by that empty ache, I channeled my energy into what I could shape. My marriage, my career, and the life we were crafting, free from my family's looming judgment. The first transformation happened at work. I'd been a solid but unremarkable project manager at a rapidly expanding marketing agency. Respected, yet never bold enough to catch the executive's eyes. That changed swiftly. I worked late, took on the projects others avoided, and within 3 months, I secured a major client, increasing our department's revenue by nearly 40%. At a company-wide meeting, the CEO singled me out for praise and promoted me to director. The new position brought a substantial pay raise, which I funneled into serious investments. I've been experimenting with real estate for years, but now I had the capital to acquire 3 rental properties in high-demand neighborhoods. Within a year, their passive income nearly matched my salary. Leah and I purchased a sleek, sun-filled home on the city's outskirts, complete with a home office overlooking the river. Our social world expanded, too. Without my family's constant criticism, we cultivated authentic connections. We threw dinner parties, organized weekend retreats, and hosted charity events through Leah's art community. The people we met saw us for who we were, not as a footnote in my family's pecking order, but as a couple forging their own path. At one of those events, a fundraiser at our home, I realized how far I'd come. Holding a glass of wine in our living room, I overheard 2 guests remark that Elias always seemed to have everything under control. I smiled quietly. They had no clue how much of that stemmed from walking away from those who constantly dragged me down. Meanwhile, I stayed in discreet contact with Amelia. She'd share brief updates. Elena's wedding plans were unraveling into chaos. My parents were muttering about my growing distance, and Matt had started showing up at family gatherings as if nothing was wrong. I never took the bait. I never justified myself. My silence worked to my advantage. It left them no ammunition for their drama, no fresh reactions to distort. All the while, I was meticulously gathering evidence, saving receipts, photos, and every fragment that revealed the truth of their actions. One afternoon, nearly a year after my wedding, an email arrived from a national business publication. They wanted to spotlight me in an article about young professionals achieving financial independence before 35. The feature included a polished photo shoot and an interview about my investments, career ascent, and charitable efforts. When the magazine hit stands, I knew my family saw it. Amelia confirmed it. My mother reportedly bought 3 copies, stunned to see my name. Yet they said nothing. No praise, no recognition. Just a heavy silence laced with swallowed pride and quiet bitterness. I no longer sought their validation, but I knew my rising success was laying the groundwork for something greater. The necklace, the deception, the missed wedding, they weren't forgotten. My next move would ensure they never would be. The turning point arrived on a rainy Tuesday, 18 months after my wedding. While reviewing contracts for a new commercial property at my desk, an email from Amelia landed. The subject was brief but weighty. You'll want to read this. Attached was a PDF, crisp scans of my grandmother's estate inventory, complete with signatures. The necklace was listed unmistakably, with my name as its rightful heir. But what stood out was at the bottom, a set of signatures, including my mother's, and a note stating, released to Alina Harper for temporary use, June 15th, to be returned to rightful owner. That date was Elena's engagement party, meaning my mother had formally acknowledged the necklace was mine. Yet, nearly 2 years later, it still hadn't been returned. I leaned back, staring at the screen, my heart racing. This wasn't just a personal betrayal anymore. It was a documented, legally binding admission. That same week, chance dealt me another advantage. Through work, I begun collaborating with a prominent event planner who focused on upscale weddings and galas. Over coffee, she mentioned booking a lavish wedding for a demanding client, Alina Harper. I kept my face neutral, but my mind was spinning. Elena's wedding, 6 months away, was set to be extravagant, costly, and highly visible. The planner, unaware of my connection, described the exclusive estate venue, booked years in advance, and the bride's obsession with a flawless family image. Family image, it was almost too perfect. I now held 2 powerful tools: undeniable proof the necklace was mine, and insider details about the most significant event in my sister's life. Unlike my wedding, hers would be packed with extended family, business associates, and media attention. I began moving discreetly. I hired a sharp, low-profile attorney, not to file a lawsuit yet, but to review the will, the signed release, and every piece of evidence I collected. He confirmed my suspicions. I had a solid legal case to reclaim the necklace, and if I chose, I could pursue damages for its wrongful withholding. But I wasn't ready to act yet. Timing was critical. I also started attending more city networking events, subtly weaving my way into circles that overlap with my family's, business leaders I respected, journalists who covered high society weddings, even the owner of the estate hosting Elena's event. I never mentioned my connection to her. I simply ensured I was in the right rooms, making the right connections, leaving the right impressions. By spring, I wasn't just thriving, I wielded quiet influence. And many of those new connections would be at Elena's wedding. The final piece clicked when Amelia called one evening, her voice hushed. Eli, I shouldn't say this, but Mom's been boasting about keeping the necklace safe for Alina to wear at her wedding. She says you don't value family traditions anymore, so it's better with her. I thanked Amelia, hung up, and sat in silence. The stage was set, the date was fixed, the audience was assured. For the first time in years, the old pain in my chest began to dissolve, replaced by a steady, unshakable certainty. When I made my move, they wouldn't just lose the necklace. They'd lose the story they built their life around. Alina's wedding day dawned warm and radiant, with golden light perfect for photographs. I rose early, not because I was invited, I wasn't, but because the plan I crafted for over a year was finally unfolding. I spent the morning in my home office, reviewing a folder one last time. Inside were organized documents, my grandmother's will, the signed release with my mother's signature, dated photos of the necklace at Elena's engagement party, and correspondence from my attorney. The final document was a centerpiece, a formal letter to the venue owner, the event planner, and Alina herself, demanding the necklace's immediate return, citing legal clauses and warning of consequences for noncompliance. Timing was everything. My attorney, Vincent, a composed and professional man, was set to deliver these documents at the venue at 3:15 p.m., just as guests arrived and pre-ceremony photos began. But that was only half the strategy. In the weeks prior, I'd subtly tipped off a lifestyle journalist I befriended, known for covering elite events with a nose for hidden drama. I shared just enough to spark her curiosity that a certain heirloom necklace worn today wasn't legally the bride's. She'd done her own research, verifying my name in the inheritance records. She made no promises, but I knew she'd be ready if something broke at the wedding. At 3:17 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was Vincent. "It's done," he said calmly. "And Elias, your sister didn't take it well." Through Amelia, texting from the bridesmaid suite, I got a real-time account. Vincent's delivery of the documents sent a shockwave through the wedding staff. The event planner, after reading the letter, paled and pulled Alina aside. My mother tried to dismiss it as a misunderstanding, but Vincent pointed to the signed release and will. The planner quietly warned that hosting an event with contested property could expose the venue to liability, meaning Alina couldn't wear the necklace down the aisle. Amelia's text came fast. "She's yelling at Mom in the dressing room. Matt's trying to calm her, but she just threw a hairbrush at him. They're taking the necklace off now." Then, the one that made me lean back, satisfied, "The photographer's packing up the jewelry shots. She's in tears." I didn't post anything. I didn't gloat. I waited. By 6 p.m., whispers were already online. Grainy photos of a tense bride without her signature piece, paired with vague captions about last-minute changes and family disputes. The journalist I'd tipped off published a brief but pointed article the next morning. The missing heirloom. The quiet drama behind yesterday's lavish Harper wedding. It didn't vilify me. It didn't need to. It laid out the facts, quoted the will, and closed with, "The necklace is now rightfully back with the grandson it was meant for." It was, of course, resting in a velvet box on my desk where it belonged. Calls from my parents started flooding in after the article went live. I didn't answer. This time, the silence was mine to wield. The fallout was swift and sharp. Within a week, the story spread to a few local outlets, not major, but enough to ripple through my parents' prized social circles. People who once flocked to them at galas suddenly had other commitments. Alina's new in-laws, who'd been thrilled to join a seemingly impeccable family, were livid that her wedding was marred by public humiliation. Amelia shared in hushed calls how the tension at their house had become stifling. My mother blamed my father for not handling it discreetly. My father blamed her for signing the release. Alina tried to control the narrative online, posting old photos of herself in the necklace from her engagement party with captions about family mattering more than possessions. But the comments told a different story. People asked pointed questions, some even tagging me, saying they were glad justice was served. Matt, my former best friend, didn't escape unscathed. He'd loudly defended Alina after her engagement party, but the article exposed his lies about my supposed guest list drama. Several mutual friends cut ties with him. When I saw him months later at a networking event, he couldn't meet my eyes. The necklace remained with me, where it was always meant to be. It was no longer just an heirloom. It was a symbol of breaking free from their rules. I didn't need their approval, their invitations, or their version of the truth to define me. I never spoke to my parents again, not out of anger, though I felt it, but because there was nothing left to say. They'd made their choice when they skipped my wedding. All I'd done was ensure the world saw it clearly. A year later, on our anniversary, Leia wore the necklace for the first time. We dined quietly in a cozy corner of the city, just the two of us. As the light danced on the golden diamonds, I thought of my grandmother, who'd wanted this for me, and how it took nearly losing it all to claim it. Leia caught my gaze and smiled. "Feels like it's finally home, doesn't it?" I nodded, words unnecessary. The truth was clear. They'd removed themselves from my life, and I'd sealed the door behind them. And I didn't just lock it. I tossed the key